गुड इवनिंग फ्रेंड्स, गुड इवनिंग। आप सबों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं इस यूट्यूब चैनल में। हम लोग यहां पर सीखेंगे हाउ टू सॉल्व द क्वेश्चन। और ये जो प्रश्न होंगे वो जियोग्राफी सेक्शन से होंगे। जियोग्राफी के जो स्टैटिक्स प्रश्न हैं जिन्हें आप अच्छी तरह से समझ ले, दैट विल बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अपकमिंग एग्जाम। बने रहिए इस चैनल में, देखते रहिए, सीखते रहिए, आगे बढ़ते रहिए। ऑल द बेस्ट। तो पहला सवाल आपकी स्क्रीन पर होगा, क्वेश्चन नंबर 40 अबाउट इंडियन ओशियन डायपोल। इंडियन ओशियन डायपोल के बारे में, आईओडी के बारे में आप क्या जानते हैं? लेट्स सी। आईओडी इज द डिफरेंसेस या डिफरेंस इन द एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर above Indian Ocean. Okay. Positive IOD result in more cyclone than the usual Bay of Bengal. पॉजिटिव आईओडी आने से द बे ऑफ बंगाल में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा भूकंप साइक्लोन आया क्या? विच आर द करेक्ट? चलिए, आई थिंक ये दोनों ही स्टेटमेंट गलत है। देखिए, इंडियन ओशियन डायपोल को आप अगर डिफाइन करना चाह रहे हैं तो इट इज़ द डिफरेंस इन द सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर बिटवीन टू सीज, टू एरिया, टू पोल्स। ठीक है, दो पोल के बीच का प्रेशर डिफरेंस को ही हम लोग इसको कह सकते हैं। ए वेस्टर्न पोल इन द अरेबियन सी, इसको वेस्टर्न पोल अरेबियन सी इन वेस्टर्न इंडियन ओशियन, एंड ईस्टर्न पोल्स इन द ईस्टर्न इंडियन ओशियन एंड द साउथ ऑफ इंडोनेशिया। ठीक है, इंडोनेशिया ऑफ इंडोनेशिया। IOD develops in equatorial region of Indian Ocean from April and May, peaking in October. With a positive IOD, जब पॉजिटिव आईओडी विंड्स होगा तो ओवर द इंडियन ओशियन ब्लो फ्रॉम ईस्ट टू वेस्ट यानी वे ऑफ बंगाल से बहेगा अरेबियन सी की ओर। दिस रिजल्ट इन अरेबियन सी, Western Indian Ocean near African coast being much warmer, and Eastern Indian Ocean around the Indonesia become colder and dry. Colder in and dry. In the negative IOD, rivers happen. Indonesia become much warmer and rainer. Positive IOD in Arabian Sea warmer and the Bay of Bengal, then the Bay of Bengal result more cyclone than the usual in Arabian Sea. Negative IOD in stronger than usual cyclogenics in the Bay of Bengal. Cyclogenesis in Arabian Sea is suppressed. With the reference to the continental shelf, consider the following statement. Most commercial exploitation from the sea takes place on the continental shelf. क्या जो सबसे ज़्यादा कॉमर्शियल एक्सप्लोइटेशन होता है क्या वो कॉन्टिनेंटल शेल्फ में होता है? कॉन्टिनेंटल शेल्फ्स are the richest fishing grounds in the world. United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea limits the exploitation of resources from the continental shelf of the concerned coastal stage up to 12 nautical miles from the coast. ऐसा तो नहीं है, 12 नंबर 3 नंबर आप समझ लीजिए, एक और दो सही है। देखिए, कॉन्टिनेंटल शेल्फ इज द एज ऑफ द कॉन्टिनेंट that lies under the ocean. Continents are 7 main divisions of land on Earth. Continental shelf extend from the coastline of the continent to a drop-off point called shelf break. From the shelf break, the shelf descends toward the deep ocean floor is called continental slope. Most commercial exploitation from the sea such as metallic or non-metallic or hydrocarbon extraction takes place on continental shelf. Their shallowness enables sunlight to penetrate through the water, which encourages the growth of the minute plants and other microorganisms. They are thus rich in plankton on beach. Millions of surface and the bottom feeding fishes thrive. The continental shelf are therefore the richest fishing grounds in the world. The Grand Banks of Newfoundland, the North Sea, and the Sunda Shelf. Example: the Grand Bank of Newfoundland, North Sea, and Sunda Shelf. Their limited depth and gentle flow keep out cold undercurrents and increase the heights of tide. This sometimes hinder the shipping and other marine activities since can only enter the and leave port on the tide. Most of the world's greatest seaport, including Southampton, London, Hamburg, Rotterdam, Hong Kong, Singapore, are located on a continental shelf. United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea limits the exploitation of resources from continental shelf of the concerned coastal states up to 200 nautical miles from the coast. It is known as exclusive economic zone. In the exclusive economic zone, the coastal state has sovereign rights for the purpose of exploring and exploiting, conserving, and managing the natural resources, whether living or non living. And with regard to the other activities for economic exploitation and exploration of the zone, such as the production of energy from the water currents and winds. What is are the significance of a study of oceanic morphology? Ocean relief controls the nature, the character, and the motion of the seawater. Oceanic movement in the form of current are responsible for variations in character of flora and fauna in the ocean. Bottom relief of ocean influence navigation and fishing. Okay, I think it's a D. Study of morphology of the ocean is important because the relief controls the nature, character, and the motion of the sea, the water. The oceanic movement in the form of currents in turn causes many variations, which are important to the character of the marine fauna and flora. The bottom relief of ocean also influence navigation, fishing, other important activities of man. Consider the following statements. A bay is a larger body of water, sometimes with a narrow mouth that is almost completely surrounded by land. A gulf is a small body of water that is set off from a larger body of water, generally where the land curves inward. A state is a narrow passway of water. State is a narrow passway of water, usually between continents or island, between two larger bodies of water. Which are the correct? पहला स्टेटमेंट तो गलत है. Only three is right answer. A bay is a small body of water or a broad inlet that set that is set off from a larger body of water, generally where the land curves inward. Wage usually occurs on ocean, lakes, gulfs, and generally not on rivers. Wage usually occur on ocean, lakes, gulfs, generally not on rivers except when there is an artificially enlarged river mouth. A gulf is a larger body of water, sometimes with a narrow mouth that is almost completely surrounded by land. It can be considered a larger bay. The world's largest gulf is the Mexico Gulf of Mexico. The Persian Gulf is important with respect to the world's energy because petroleum is transported through the through its water in oil tankers. A strait is a narrow pass of water, usually between the continents or island, between two larger bodies of water. Strait of Gibraltar is probably the world's most famous strait. It connects the Atlantic Ocean on its base with Mediterranean Sea on the east. It connects the Atlantic Ocean on the east west with Mediterranean Sea on the east. It also separates northern Africa from the Rock of the Gibraltar on the southernmost point of the Iberian Peninsula. With the reference to the oceanic and freshwater ecosystem, consider the following statement regarding hypoxia. Hypoxia. It refers to excessive supply of oxygen in water body. It often leads to the formation of dead zone in the ocean. Hypoxia in water bodies occurs most often as a consequence of human-induced factors. दो तीन सही है. In ocean and freshwater environment, a term hypoxia refers to a low or depleted oxygen in water body. Hypoxia is often associated with the overgrowth of a certain species of algae, which can lead to the oxygen depletion, depletion when they die, sink to the bottom and decompose. In some cases, vast stretches of ocean water become hypoxia. The amount of the oxygen in any water body varies naturally, both seasonally and over time. This occurs due to the balance between oxygen input from the atmosphere and certain biological and chemical processes, some of which produce oxygen while others consume it. Stratification in water column, which occurs when less dense fresh water from estuary mix with the heavier seawater, is one natural cause of hypoxia. Limited vertical mixing between the water layers restrict the supply of oxygen from surface water to more saline bottom waters, leading to the hypoxia condition in bottom habitats. Hypoxia occurs most often, however, as a consequence of human-induced factor, especially nutrient pollution, also known as eutrophication. The cause of the nutrient pollution, specifically on nitrogen and phosphorus nutrients, include agriculture, run of fossil fuel burning, and wastewater treatment effluent. Which of the following are correct regarding the Black Sea? Black Sea, it is a marginal sea of Pacific Ocean. Marginal sea of the Pacific Ocean. It is connected to the Sea of Azov and Sea of Marmara. It's connected to a Sea of Azov and Sea of Marmara. It is the largest water body with meromictic basin. Meromictic basin. पहला स्टेटमेंट तो छाटिए. Black Sea is a marginal sea of Atlantic Ocean, lying between Europe and Asia. So lying between Europe and Asia. The Black Sea is bordered by Bulgaria, Georgia, Romania, Russia, Turkey, Ukraine. Black Sea is bordered by Bulgaria, Georgia, Romania, Russia, Turkey, Ukraine. Black Sea ultimately drains into the Mediterranean Sea via the Turkish Strait and Aegean Sea. Bosporus Strait connects it to the small Sea of Marmara, which is turned and connected to the Aegean Sea via the Strait of Dardanelles. To the north, the Black Sea is connected to the Sea of Azov by the Kerch Strait. The Black Sea is the world's largest body of water with a meromictic basin, which means layers of water that do not intermix. Denser, more saline water from Aegean flows into the Black Sea. Underneath the dense, fresher outflowing water from the Black Sea. This creates a significant and permanent layer of the deep water and does not drain or mix it thereof anoxic. The anoxic layer is responsible for the preservation of ancient shipwreck which have been found in Black Sea. With the reference to the ocean current, consider the following statement. Ocean current is usually strongest at the bottom of the ocean and decreases in the strength on the surface. Temperature differences and salinity differences are the primary force that influences the ocean current. पहला स्टेटमेंट तो गलत है, दूसरा स्टेटमेंट भी गलत है. Ocean current are like a river flow in the ocean. They represent regular volume of water in a definite path and direction. Currents are referred to by their drift. Usually, the currents are strongest near the surface and may attain speed over 5 knots. At depth, the currents are generally slow, with a speed less than 0.5 knots. We refer to the speed of a current as a drift. Drift is measured in terms of knot. The strength of a current refers to the speed of the current. A fast current is considered strongest. A current is usually strongest at the surface and decreases in the strength with depth. Most currents have speeds less than or equal to 5 knots. Ocean currents are influenced by the two types of forces, namely primary forces that initiate the movement of water, secondary forces that influence the currents to flow. Primary forces that influences the current are heating by solar energy, wind, gravity, Coriolis force. Temperature differences and salinity differences are the secondary forces. Differences in water density affect vertical mobility of ocean current. Water with the high salinity is denser than the water with the low salinity. And in the same way, the cold water is denser than the warm water. Denser water tends to sink, while relatively lighter water tends to rise. The cold water ocean currents occur when the cold water at the poles sink and slowly moves towards the equator. Warm water currents travel out from equator along the surface, flowing towards the poles to replace the sinking cold water. With a reference to the ocean current, या सदर्न ओशियन के बारे में पूछा जा रहा था, दक्षिण महासागर के माध्यम. Consider the following statements. It comprises the southernmost waters of the world ocean, generally taken to be south of the 60-degree south latitude. It is regarded as the smallest of the principal oceanic division. Kara Sea and Laptev Sea are the part of the Southern Ocean. ओके, दो नंबर आप दिमाग लगा लीजिए, एक और दो गलत. यहाँ पर एक तो इनकरेक्ट नहीं है, एक दो यहाँ सही है, एक ओनली. Southern Ocean, also known as Antarctic Ocean, comprises the southmost waters of the world ocean, generally taken to be south of 60-degree south latitude and encircle Antarctica. It is regarded as the second smallest of the five principal oceanic divisions, smaller than Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, but larger than Arctic Ocean. Kara Sea and Laptev Sea are the two parts of the Arctic Ocean. Major sea of southern oceans are Weddell Sea, Weddell Sea, Somov Sea, Riger Larsen Sea, Laja Rave Sea, and Scotia Sea. What are the factors? What are the effects of the ocean current? Ocean current, when warm ocean currents have a direct effect on a desert formation in the west coast region of the tropical and subtropical continent. Mixing of cold and warm ocean currents create the richest fishing ground in the world. Cold ocean currents in west of the continents in the middle and the higher latitude leads to cool summers and relatively mild winters. No, it's not a cold current. इसका सही जवाब है केवल और केवल दो. Ocean currents have a number of direct and indirect influence on the human activities. Cold ocean currents have a direct effect on desert formation in the west coast in the west coast, the tropical and subtropical continent. West coast of the continent in tropical and subtropical latitude are bordered by cool waters. Their average temperature are relatively low with a narrow diurnal and annual range. There is a fog, but generally the areas are arid. Warm ocean current in the west coast of the continental in the middle and the higher latitude leads to the cool summer leads to cool summers and relatively mild winters. The west coast of the continent in the middle and the higher latitudes are bordered by warm waters, which cause a distinct marine climate. They are characterized by cool summer and relatively mild winters with a narrow annual range of temperature. Warm current flow parallel to the east coast of the continent in the tropic and subtropic latitude. This result in warm and rainy climates. These areas lie in the western margin of the subtropical anticyclone. The mixing of warm and cold currents help to replenish the oxygen in the favor of the growth of the plankton, the primary food for fish population. The best fishing grounds of the world exist mainly in these mixing zones. Consider the following: Humboldt current, Florida current, Irminger current, which are the warm current.